Heyo, you know who it is. It's your boy, Mr. Delivery Guy Si. And yes, I'm taking it easy. I'm not recording a video outside, but I want to be upfront and honest with you guys and show you everything you would need if you're going to be a courier. Everything. Maintenance to your e-bike, all the items you'll need. And I'm going to go through everything. I don't care. I'm releasing all the golden nuggets. I'm telling you guys, you know, the truth. And I'm just going to unravel it all. So I have a TSDZ 2B mid-drive motor, and I can say clearly now from using it for the last year or so, mid-drive motors aren't it unless you're going for a Bafang. If you get a Tongshan like me, do not do it. It is not worth it. Way too much maintenance. Go with a hub motor. Go for a Bafang hub motor. Do not waste your money on this junk because you will be paying for so many repairs, and I'll go into that in a second, but I'm not going to go into why you should choose a hub motor over the mid-drive right now. I'm going to go over how to maintain your e-bike, and this can be used for hub drive motor e-bikes. This can be used for mid-drive motor e-bikes. This is how you maintain your e-bike. You're able to go out in the rain and do deliveries, and there's no ifs or buts. You need a electric pump. These are worth their weight in gold. If you're going to be doing deliveries nearly every day, you need an electric pump, because if you get the ones where you've got to step down on it, it seems like, oh, you can just use your legs, it'll be nothing. But it takes a minute or two each leg, and it wears away at your leg. And next I have got weighing scales, and you're probably thinking, why have you got weighing scales? Well, if you're going to be putting loads of grease or lube or any type of liquid on your bike, you want to be measuring it correctly, especially when it comes to your clutch within your mid-drive. If you're going to have a mid-drive, you need to be accurate with your measurements. Now, this is a pretty top secret, but if you're going out in the rain often and you tend to not do deliveries because it's raining all the time, and you're going to think, oh, that's going to damage my bike. Marine grease. Now, with marine grease, all of your screws on your bike, all your screws on your mid-drive, you can basically just kind of lube them up with this marine grease, and it will stop water seeping through. So incredible. If this would be in my top 3 most essential items to combat all weather. Just research the most prone to leaks, and you know, within your mid-drive or hub, and them screws in that area, wherever it is, marine grease. I'm going to scooty wooty round. Now, this would definitely be in my top 3. You're going to need this bad boy. If you've got a mid-drive, if you've got a hub, you're going to need this stuff. This is SCH100. Now, this stuff you put on your gears, your nylon gears, within the hub or within the mid-drive. And this is a really high-end one. You don't want to skimp out on this stuff, because this will keep your gear cool, all your internals cool, and well lubricated so they don't wear out quickly. I think this was roughly around £20, but it will last you literally your entire life, basically, because you don't use much of it. Oh my God, I haven't even put the other light on. Quick, you know, editing this all day. So next up we have, okay, the label's not really intact, but next up we have cycle oil from Halfords. This, we all know, you just clean your chain and you put drops on each link of this. Pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, oil your chain. You have to do it, I would say, at least once a week if you're a courier, minimum. Now, when it comes to this, you've got to be a bit more tactical, because the marine grease is really good for waterproofing your mid-drive or your hub screws, but you could also use thread locker. They're kind of more the same. You can either go for this Loctite thread locker, which will stop the screws from coming loose. Oh, my alarm! Oh my God, that was an alarm for the bike. But yeah, as I was saying, thread locker, this will basically keep the screws tight, and they won't loosen so quickly. But I tend to go more towards the marine grease, and I coat the screws in that, because when you coat your screws in marine grease, it stops them from seizing, and also they're easier to unscrew after time. So I've kind of eased off this but I can see its positives too, so it's kind of up to you. You've got to weigh the odds of what's more important to you. The screw staying in, but it's not as waterproof, and the screw can possibly seize to the part it's screwed into, or keeping it waterproof and easy to unscrew. Mamma mia! Oh my god, this is leaking! What the hell? That's a fire risk. Okay, that is actually dangerous, but if you're looking to go into your motor or go into your hub, clean out the grease and do all the hard work, you're going to need a little mini towel and you're going to need some rubbing alcohol, just to get all the grease out and, you know, make it nice and clean for when you reapply grease, or if you just want to clean it and do some maintenance. So the next item is a torque screwdriver. Now you're gonna want this because if you've got a cheap Tongsheng like me, or even a Bafang in some cases, you're gonna want the screws to be tightened to the correct level, and that's basically called torque. And on here you can see, I don't know if you can see that clearly, but they're the numbers, and they basically tell you how much you've tightened it. So if you were to torque something, you would put this in the screw and then you'd apply pressure and it would go up. And it starts from 0 and ends at 12. And each number is the Newton meters of torque. So this goes from 0 to 12, which can cover most of the screws on the motor and the bike. Because you can research what Newton meter torque you need for this screw, that screw, and you can basically just tighten it to its correct level, because if you tighten it too much, it can seize into where it's placed into the housing and it can be a nightmare. So one of these, this is top pick, definitely recommend. What next? Now next up, we have a Shimano chain and a chain link breaker. So basically, if you have a mid-drive motor, the chain and the cassette is going to be under an immense amount of pressure, and you're probably going to go through a lot of these if you're doing deliveries every day. So yeah, you should definitely stock up on your chains. Come on, use the brain. And yeah, just make sure it's authentic. Make sure that you count how many links you need. So if you've just bought your bike, look on your chain, count how many links there are, and then with your new chain, you want to make sure it's the same amount of links on your current chain, and use this little device to break off the end, and it's got the correct amount of links within the chain that you previously had. That's how I kind of did it. So yeah, a link breaker and a chain, very important stuff, of course, if you're looking not to waste money in a bicycle shop just spending stupid money. Oh my lord. Now I will say before continuing, getting an e-bike and a mid-drive motor has kind of turned me into a mini bicycle mechanic myself. So yeah, quite a journey, but let's continue. So next on the list, of course, this is just obvious. It says, you know, the labels on the tin, but disc brake cleaner. So your disc brakes, you want to keep them clean so they run optimally and they don't squeak, because it can be quite embarrassing. So yeah, disc brake cleaner. Now with these, I haven't even opened them, because I will confess I've gone to the bicycle shops to do this, because most of the time when my cassette has come loose, I've been really far from home, and well, not that far, but too far to really make the way back or be bothered to try and walk back and fix it. So I haven't actually used these yet, but this is basically just to take the cassette off. And yeah, if you're going to replace your cassette, use this. There's many videos on YouTube how to use these two devices, but yeah. T-Rex grip and a, what is this one? Lockout. Not used them, so I'm not going to say I know that much, but I've watched many tutorials, so I kind of get the gist. Now I'm going to take you off this mount and we're going to get a little bit more intricate into my bike and the little intricate little things and bits and pieces that I have to do that are a little bit frustrating, but might as well do it. Now when it comes to your battery mount, you're going to want to actually use, I think they call it dialect grease, and basically you put it on all of these prongs and it just stops any corrosion from, you know, water damage. So a thin layer of that every other week, really good. Now my mid-drive is currently actually broken, and when I say broken, it's not actually broken internally, it's the casing is broken. So This is basically out of service for a couple of days until I put new casing on. But what I actually want to show you guys is this blue stuff. And this is basically the seam of where the mid-drive connects, and you put it together and screw it in. And what you're going to want to do is, with this ultra blue gasket maker, if you have a mid-drive and you have a seam that goes round and you can unscrew it and open your mid-drive, most mid-drives have this, you're going to want to go around the seam with this stuff. And the reason why is it creates a watertight seam all the way around, because there's actually, surprisingly, a lot of mid-drives that aren't actually waterproof. As crazy as that seems, there's a lot that really aren't that waterproof. So I would highly advise getting ultra blue if you have a mid-drive motor and going all the way around the seam of the mid-drive motor. This is a pretty expensive brand, I think, but this is going to basically last me forever. Now you can probably actually see, it's kind of dark in there, but this is the crack where the clutch is. And yeah, I'm not going to drive it outside, because if any water gets within this cracked casing where the clutch is inside, this is dead. This I will have to replace a lot of the internals from the water damage, or give them a very deep clean and spend a lot of time on it. So yeah, I'm waiting for the casing. But yeah, when it comes to having a Tongshen mid-drive, you're going to want this stuff. This is very high end. You can buy cheaper stuff, but just for 50 grams of this Kubler, whatever this is, LDS18, you can copy it, but this is very high quality. And if you put this within your clutch on any Tongshen kind of clutch and you use it very sparingly, you should research how much to use, but yeah, very sparingly, it's incredible. Your clutch will run 10 times longer than normal. So yeah, this stuff, really incredible, and you will need to lubricate your clutch with this stuff when you do a deep clean. Now, just behind these spokes, you can see the chain. And with the chain, if you want to actually prevent being out in public and then the chain snaps and then you're kind of stranded until you find somewhere to repair it, you can actually test whether the chain is loose or if it's on the verge of breaking, and replace it before it breaks with this nifty device. I forgot the name of it, but you can just kind of screenshot and Google image this. But yeah, this very important, and it has saved me a few times. And you can actually see here is a great spot where I've used the marine grease. Now this is just on the kind of crank arm end for the pedal. And yeah, really great place to grease to stop any water seeping in and yeah, just messing up all of this. So yeah, you really want to be careful with that. And then when you have a mid-drive on a lot of Tongshens, you actually have, oh, let me stop that. On a lot of Tingshens, a lot of Tongshen mid-drive setups, you have a nut screw. But a lot of the times the kind of spanners to tighten this aren't in stock. So what I tend to use, it's kind of funny, but I basically use a hammer to tighten it. And you're probably thinking, why on earth are you using a hammer? And the reason is, it's way better than a metal hammer, because it could damage the internal. So wooden is a little bit better, but you really shouldn't be using a hammer. You should look for the actual spanner for this. But yeah, what I tend to do is just put a screwdriver in one of these kind of gaps and I hammer it tight. So that's kind of my makeshift thing I've been doing at the moment. But I would actually advise to buy a second one of these and screw it on, so you've got two to keep it tight. And if you haven't got a lot of money and you've gone for a Tongshen 2, or you're just being a bit cheaper with your budget, you're probably gonna wanna, you know, get some makeshift cooling for it. And what I basically use is just this kind of brass wiring, and you can kind of just open the case into this, wrap it around you know, an air gap that you can find, and it's just going to make it conduct the heat way better to the casing. And yeah, it's just a cheap little method that will, you know, improve the longevity and the lifespan of your mid-drive. Now, this might seem excessive, and you know, I've gone through so many items, but some of these really are essential. I will agree some of them aren't that essential, but if you're doing this full-time deliveries and you've got a mid-drive, you need a hell of a lot of maintenance if you're doing it yourself and saving money. So this is a Ratchet Rocket Essential HD, and this basically allows all different amounts of torque. And yeah, you can basically, this has a torque level of, that's either 80 Newton meter or 60 Newton meter, and you can basically tighten your pedals to the correct torque you want, really. And yeah, it's just a really good quality build. So you've got all these different sizes. So I tend to tighten these, I tighten a few screws here, you know, all around the bike. And yeah, pretty important. Now, when it comes to actually the seat of your bike, this one is a little bit more special. So I don't really have any suspension on the bike. So what I've done is I've actually got a suspension seat post and an extra wide, comfortable. This seat is incredible. Don't know where I got it from, probably Amazon back in the days, but incredible comfortability. Really, really needed. I love it, love it, love it. And I think with all of these items I've showed you guys, going to end it with something cheap and cheerful. So I've kind of basically just cut a bottle in half, strapped it onto kind of my mud guard, and this kind of protects my mid-drive from having too much dirt on it. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I've probably gone through about 80% of the stuff that I kind of use. There's still a little bit more, but these are the more important things I think that, you know, I would tell someone if I was to. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, hit that like. I'll be back with another delivery video very soon. And yeah guys, peace.